is the woman who has most profoundly affected the world. Arguably, she is the Virgin Mary. Hundreds of millions of people today believe that with her help, the sick can be healed, the blind made to see, miracles can occur. Yet the truth is that very little is known about Mary. So tonight, in honor of the season, we bring back Bob Brown's search for the mother at the center of the Christmas story.
In a village on a hillside, picture a woman with long hair, dressed in modest garments, who tends and teaches her child 2,000 years ago. They live within a small Jewish community only 4 miles from the city of Sepphoris, from which Roman troops rule the area.
They were living, under the Roman Empire, under the structure of government, and I think there would have been little eruptions here and there in towns and villages, where arrests were taking place.
That is history's picture of the tense atmosphere in which a woman would have lived in that time and place, in the village of Nazareth. But if the woman goes by the Jewish name Miriam, Mary as Christians know her, and her child is believed to be the Son of God, then the image transcends history and moves into the dominion of faith. From either perspective, many consider her the most famous and influential woman in Western civilization, as an historical figure and as a symbol of humanity.
She has power for people who aren't Catholics, who aren't Christians. She connects with some of the deepest experiences that we share. Experiences of motherhood, of tragedy, of passion.
Hey there, Maria, Santa Maria.
For a woman of such importance in so many cultures, little is known about the details of her life. The chief biblical sources of information about Mary are the 4 New Testament books of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, written an estimated 30 to 120 years after the death of Jesus. But they carry relatively few words about her or attributed to her. Some of her words are found in a prayer called the Magnificat, significant as a biblical view of her character and personality, and as a reflection of the historical conditions that would have troubled her. It is a statement of faith and a declaration against injustice, of God's intent to put down the powerful and lift up the lowly. When Mary began her own humble journey to bear a child who would change civilization, many scholars believe she would have been in her early teens.
We have a pretty strong idea that she was approaching 13.
13 when
13.
She did that. Virginia Kimball is on the board of directors of the Mariological Society of America, a Catholic organization dedicated to the study of Mary.
At 12 was when the period of time came for them to be betrothed.
Christians and Muslims both accept accounts in the Bible and in the Quran that Mary gave birth as a virgin. The Bible tells the story from different points of view. In the book of Matthew, some real-world concerns are addressed when Joseph is considering leaving the pregnant Mary until an angel appears in a dream and tells him the child was conceived by the Holy Spirit. The book of Luke tells the story from Mary's point of view. When the angel Gabriel says she is to bear the Son of God, she asks, "How can this be, since I am a virgin?" She is told that nothing is impossible with God. From those spiritual accounts and knowledge of the everyday circumstances she would have faced comes a picture of the Mary the shepherds would have found in Bethlehem. A woman who was young, devout, offended by injustice, devoted to her child, and, many believe, sorrowful in the knowledge of what his fate would be.
In terms of her general life, just from what we know historically, what kind of life would Mary have led as a young woman? What might her daily routine have been?
Think of a courtyard, and in one corner of the courtyard is where the family sleeps.
John Dominic Crossan is a professor of biblical studies who's written more than a dozen books about Jesus and his times.
They don't really live in the house, they live in the courtyard. So there's probably an oven of some type in the courtyard where the mother has to do the baking every day. Life in general is in the courtyard.
In their search for a picture of how Mary lived, even the earliest Christian theologians asked some pretty imaginative questions about her, about how she might have been tested as a mother in the years she spent raising Jesus.
in a text in the 2nd century called the Infancy Gospel, according to Thomas. It was as if you were asking, what's it like to spank God? Thomas asked himself exactly this question: what was it like to have Jesus as a playmate?
Now this is all, you know, imagination. And he got kind of discouraged with his playmates, so he turned them all into little animals. And then their parents got upset and came to Mary and Joseph and said, you've got to do something about your child.
Imagination aside, says Virginia Kimball, the point is that Mary would have exercised deep influence by teaching her son their heritage.
The Hebrew woman was the instructor of the child, was the model of the child. She was a woman of great faith, very strong. And I think Jesus would have clung to her as he was growing up and coming to grips with who he was.
Hail Mary, full of grace,
the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
What is central to the role Mary plays in the Catholic faith is that Catholics believe she was given as a mother to all humanity, and because of that, can help intercede in their prayers to God. Virginia Kimball puts it this way.
I would ask anybody if their mother has passed away. Do they think of their mother? Do they ask their mother for help and prayer? It's the same kind of sentiment.
Protestants generally don't accord Mary the same significance as Catholics do. What's the difference between that?
Protestant tradition is that you pray directly to God. So why would you need to pray to his mother?
Holy Mother, where are you? Tonight I feel broken in two.
Blessed are you amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, Jesus.
Some Catholics believe so strongly in Mary and may seek her help so urgently that they have interpreted as a sign from her the reflection of light on a church wall in California, a stain on a subway floor in Mexico City, a figure on the side of an office building in Clearwater, Florida.
Lying in, safe within your arms.
But the type of apparition likely to draw the interest of the church often involves visionaries. In Fatima, Portugal in 1917, Mary is said to have appeared to peasant children and entrusted them with 3 secret prophecies. In fact, Pope John Paul II believes the last prophecy foresaw the attempt to assassinate him in 1981, and that Mary also protected him from the assassin's bullet. At Lourdes in France, the church has set up an enormous structure around the site where a peasant girl named Bernadette Soubirous reported seeing apparitions of Mary in 1858 in a grotto. Many people come here because they believe the water from the grotto has miraculous healing properties. Colleen Lyons Fisher, a Pennsylvania business executive, came to pray for a friend and out of gratitude for the recovery of her son from a life-threatening illness. She has her own image of Mary, historical and contemporary.
She was such a strong, strong woman, so she provided some backbone that I know I needed, but more importantly, that my son needed in order to get through the ordeal.
One of several theories about the end of Mary's life is that she went with the disciple John to Ephesus, here in what is now Turkey, and that she died here. Another account from early Greek tradition says Mary died in Jerusalem and requested to be buried in the tomb where her son had been laid. But if history lost her at the end of her life, faith found her. A continuation over 2,000 years of the search of shepherds and wise men who went to Bethlehem to discover a young mother and her child in a manger. And everyone who heard wondered at the things that were told them by the shepherds, Luke says. But Mary kept all these things and pondered them in her heart.
To understand that even more profoundly, in the Judaic understanding, the soul, God, is found in the heart, dwells in the heart. So pondering the things in her heart, you see, means she has a realization of things that are happening she doesn't understand, totally. Which, isn't that true of all of us in life?
Her message transcends any religion, any theology. Mary is for everyone, every single person. I mean, even if one doesn't believe in a God at all, her message is love. It's being kind.
Whether one believes in Mary or not, her story is about love and family, and we can all relate to that.
when 2020 returns.